So let's take a look at how these tools and subtools work inside of ZBrush. So here we have this PolyMesh Cube 3D, and right below it we have this head mesh, and this particular tool has this number 2 in the corner, whereas this one doesn't have any kind of a number in there. So let's take a look at what's going on in here. So we select this tool, and then let's go into this Subtool Palette. So click it, and we can see that this particular tool holds 2 subtools. And there are also slots for other subtools, and you can have as much as 1,000 subtools in one tool. So how do you get these subtools into the tool? Let's take a look at that next. We'll hide this particular mesh by going here in this eye icon and clicking on it, so that way we can hide those subtools. And then let's go on and let's make a sphere. So we'll pick this Primitive Mesh3D, and as you already know, this is just the primitive, and we have to make it into a PolyMesh3D. So let's click this, and now it's a PolyMesh3D object in here. Let's go back into this chieftain, and then here in the Subtool Palette there is this Append button, and in order to get the sphere into this list of subtools, we just click on the Append, and then out of the list here we choose this PM3D sphere 3D that we just created. And okay, it's slightly big, we need to resize it. So let's take a look at these move, scale and rotate transform tools. So there is this move transform tool, and it works pretty much the same as these transform tools work in any 3D application. So you just move to any particular direction using these arrows, and then these rectangular boxes here are for scaling the selected subtool. So I'm going to scale them slightly to make that ear shape, and I'm going to move it there beside the gentleman, and then there's this yellow rectangle or cube in there. So from there we can scale it in all of the axes. And then with these circular lines or rings we can rotate the subtool like so. Okay, so there we have the eye, the ear. And next we could add the eye. So let's click on this Append button here again and pick the PM3D sphere 3D again. So there we have one again. Let's move on to the object that we just added, and let's take the move transform tool again, resize it. We can also move the object from these. So let's move it there so that it's adjacent to the eye socket's place, and let's see what it looks like. It could be slightly smaller. Like so. Okay, there we have the eye, and I moved back into this draw mode. I was in the using the transform tool, so back to draw mode there. And now I want this particular subtool mirrored onto this other side. So how do we go about doing something like that? Well, we go into this deformation tab here and we click it open, and we can see there are lots of different kinds of sliders in here, but we're only looking for one particular button, and it is this mirror button. And as you can see, there are these small letters next to it. So there is this X, Y, and Z button in there. Letter, sorry. And we can change the axis into which the mesh is to be mirrored from changing these. So we can, for example, activate the Y axis and then deactivate the X axis there, and then if we click on the mirror button, we can see that the eye went into here because here is the origo line, so it mirrored it in the Y axis there. So let's take a step back, change it back to the X axis and click on mirror. And oh, sorry, I should have duplicated this mesh, of course, first. So duplicating works like so that we just hit this duplicate button in here. So now let's go and mirror the eye. Okay, and it would be nice if both of these eye meshes were in the same subtool slot. There's no reason to have them separately. So how to merge these together? Well, as you can see, there's in here this merge tab that we can open up, and then there's this merge down button, and it works so that when we click on it, it will merge the selected subtool with the subtool that is directly beneath it. So let's take a look at it, and ZBrush is informing that this is not an undoable operation. Okay, so there we have them now. And what ZBrush meant by them being undoable is that now if we take one step back in the undo history, we can see that the eye that we combined with this eye and has disappeared, and it's not in the list anymore either. So So in that sense, it is undoable. We can later on split these if we so desire, but yes, it is indeed an undoable operation. Anyway, so let's sculpt this ear very fast and then dynamesh it into the head. So I'll take this clay brush, I'll bump the intensity up, I'm going to adjust this draw size a bit, and then let's go on into making it into a suitable looking ear. I'm just really fast going to make this into a suitable looking shape. Okay, it's taking a lot of time. With this, I'm going to just take the move brush that I have so much advertised for you guys. So okay, smoothing a bit. And we are beginning to have the shape. Let's bump up the draw size a little and then okay. I'm not going to make this into a like really polished or anything, but I'm just making it to look like an ear. So let's use this solo mode now. So there's this button called solo in here. Let's just click on it, and ZBrush will isolate the selected subtool. This is very handy. So okay, I guess that's good enough. It's not going to, it doesn't need to be that polished. Anyway, so there is the ear now, and next we need to mirror this just like we did with the eyes, but I'm going to do this mirroring in a slightly different way. There are two ways to mirror, so I'm going to show the second way now. So oops. The first method that I showed was that we went in this deformation tab here, and there was this mirror. Then there is also the possibility to go here into the geometry tab, and in here there is this modify topology tab. So let's open it up, and in here there is this button that says mirror and weld, and if we press it, we get it mirrored on the other side. But what does this weld mean? I mean, it's not welding them, they are separate. Well, I'll show you. So they will be welded when they are next to each other. Where was this central point? Okay, so approximately there. Okay, So now you can see that they were welded. They are a single mesh. Anyway, that's not what we want to do, so let's take some steps back and let's leave this solo mode now and deactivate the polyframe and let's mirror and weld. So now when we go back into this Subtool palette, we can see that the ears indeed are on the in the same subtool. So I also showed you how to merge two objects. So now we have to do that yet again. We are going to merge the head with the ears. So in order to move this subtool beneath this head mesh, we use this arrow. As you can see, it moved one slot upwards from where it was originally, and we can also move it downwards, and then you can also see that there is this select up button with which you can go through these subtools by just clicking these buttons. I rarely use these buttons, but these are very handy. Anyway, so let's go into this head mesh and then we will merge down, so that we have to make sure that what you want to merge it down with has to be directly beneath the mesh that is active right now. So merge down, and now they are combined, but they are not they are still separate meshes. So now in order to make them into a single mesh, we will dynamesh them. So yet again we go into this geometry tab, and then let's close this modify topology tab. The mirror and weld was there. Let's go here into this dynamesh tab and let's hit dynamesh. Okay, so now you can see that it is indeed a single mesh now, but we can also see that we lost a lot of the detail that we had sculpted. So let's take a step back and let's bump up the resolution, something like that, and then hit the dynamesh again. And ZBrush is working. And there we have it now. So now it's a single mesh. Now we can continue tweaking the ears. Of course, doing those ears was maybe not something that we would have needed, but just to show. Also, I'm going to show a little more about appending these subtools. So let's append, for example, this cube 3D in there, and let's append a sphere. Then let's scale them and move them to the side. So so as you can see, appending adds the subtools into the end of the list. But what if we had like like 500 subtools in this project altogether, and we wanted to add a subtool like underneath this head mesh. Well, then we can use this insert button here just beneath the append button. So let's hit the insert and then PM3D sphere 3D, and let's scale that and move it. So we can see that it was inserted beneath the head mesh. What if there are meshes in the tool that we don't want? Then we can go here and hit this delete button. So let's delete that. Let's delete the cube as well. And then there is also this del other button. Well, that will obviously delete every other subtool. So let's click on it. Okay. So as you can see, now we only have the head. And then there is this del all button, and that means that it will delete everything in this subtool. So now it will also delete that last subtool. So there.